Okay, so we need to talk about one of the most misunderstood and honestly, one of the most powerful emotions that we all deal with: envy. We're always taught to just push it down, to be ashamed of it, but what if that's totally wrong? What if envy is actually a hidden compass for your own growth?
Oof, this one hits home, right? You're just scrolling through your phone, you see someone else's highlight reel, that new job, the amazing vacation, their fitness progress, and you feel that familiar knot just tighten in your stomach. The thing is, it's not that you wish them anything bad, it's that their success suddenly feels like this giant spotlight on where you feel you're stuck.
So, what if that feeling isn't some character flaw? What if it's not a weakness at all? What if it's actually a signpost, literally pointing you in the exact direction of what you truly want? That's the big idea we're going to unpack right here. Here's the real deal, psychologically speaking. Comparing ourselves to others is completely natural. Our brains are literally hardwired to look at other people, to figure out how we're doing. It's this ancient survival thing. So that feeling you're trying so hard to ignore, it's not a bug, it's a feature. It's actually really valuable data.
This is the huge reframe we all need to make. Envy isn't about hating on someone else. It's just unprocessed desire. It's your brain simply highlighting a gap between where you are right now and where you really want to be. Think of it like hunger telling you, hey, it's time to eat. The signal isn't the problem, it's what we do with it that matters.
So what happens when we don't process it the right way? Well, we get stuck. We get trapped in what you could call the destructive loop. For most people, this is exactly where that signal goes to die, leading to this endless cycle of frustration and just not doing anything.
And this is that downward spiral we all know way too well. It kicks off with the comparison. You see someone else's win. That immediately triggers a feeling of insecurity, a feeling like you're not enough. And then, what does that insecurity lead to? Avoidance. We close the app, we put off working on our own goals, we basically do nothing, which, of course, only makes us feel worse the next time it happens.
This lays out the two paths so perfectly. The trigger, that initial comparison, is the exact same for both. But the pivot point, the entire game changer, is action. If you do nothing, you're heading straight down the path to self-doubt. But if you take action, that exact same feeling becomes a signal that leads you straight to growth. It's the same energy, just pointed in a new direction.
When you feel that little pang of envy and then you just let it sit there, you're pretty much telling yourself that you're not capable of getting the thing you want. That emotion starts to harden into this negative belief about who you are, and that is the real danger of leaving envy unchecked.
Okay, so how do we break out of that loop and actually start taking action? Well, you need a system. Let's walk through the envy conversion system. It's a super practical framework for turning all that raw emotional energy into productive fuel.
So this is the envy conversion system, or ECS for short. It's a really simple but honestly powerful method for taking that vague, uncomfortable feeling and turning it into a concrete, actionable plan for your own life. The ECS is just 3 simple steps. First, you identify, and I mean get really specific. What exactly are you envious of? Second, you decode. What is the deep down desire that this thing actually represents to you? And third, you translate. What's the smallest possible action you can take right now that moves you even a tiny bit closer to that desire?
Let's make this real. A vague feeling like, I wish I had their life, is totally useless. But when you put it through the system, you might decode it and realize what you actually want is the freedom their life seems to represent. And the translated action? Maybe it's, I need to start building a new income skill. Or I'm jealous of their body becomes, I desire to feel healthy, which translates to, I need to create a workout plan I can actually stick to. See how that works? We're going from a messy emotion to a clear, specific next step.
Now, once you have this system and you start using it, something pretty profound starts to happen. It's way more than just a technique. It's a fundamental shift in your entire mindset. You start to see your envy as your own personal map. You stop seeing other people's success as a threat, and you start seeing it as feedback.
And this right here is the big identity shift. The average mindset sees someone else's win and thinks, oh, great. That just proves I'm behind. It feels like a threat to their ego. But a growth mindset sees that exact same success and thinks, okay, that's interesting. That's feedback. It's just data. It's proof that something is possible, and it's a clue about what you might want for yourself.
This brings us to this really cool concept, directional envy. This is the actual practice of using this emotion not as something to hide, but as your own personal map, a guide that's always pointing you toward what truly deeply matters to you.
Think about it for a second. You don't get jealous of an astronaut if you have zero desire to go to space, right?
You don't envy a world-class pianist if you don't care about playing the piano. Your envy is incredibly specific. It only fires up for things that are directly connected to your own deepest, sometimes even unspoken, values. It's a personalized signal from you to you.
So let's bring all this home and talk about how to actually read your inner compass. It's really time to stop fighting this natural part of our psychology and start using it for what it is, a powerful guidance system. This is your call to action.
Look, the goal isn't to become some kind of Zen master who never feels envy again. That's just not going to happen. The goal is to get really, really good at reading your own emotional signals, to see envy not as a fire you have to put out, but as a map you need to learn how to read.
So here's your challenge. The very next time you feel that little pang of envy, don't just scroll past it and try to forget it. Instead, just pause. Actually write down what triggered it. Then, use the ECS to decode the desire underneath. And finally, commit to one single, tiny action you can take in the next 24 hours to move toward it.
Because ultimately, the feeling itself is neutral. It's just information. It's not your enemy. It's not a weakness. The only thing that truly matters, the only question that's left to answer, is what you choose to do with that information. What will you build with it?